the heat does an outstanding job. Okay, I've got enough Oxpho blue on that patch that's on the forceps there to go a significant amount more than what I have. So I'm going to heat up this other section. Bear with me, I'm having to work with the camera here, get it just the way I want it so you can see. Now while that's curing, doing this thing, we're going to heat up this section. Alright, then we're just going to keep going. Doesn't take much. I mean, this really is an economical way to blue a firearm. The main thing when you're talking about complete reblue with this kind of thing, you know, using Oxford blue, you want to make sure that you're keeping track of what areas you're going over. Because as you can see, I'm going back over the same exact area that we just started before. Alright, so you want to make sure you're keeping track. So I'm going to heat the next section and then blue that back section. That way I'm giving it proper time to you know, work into the metal. Now this cotton ball is getting a little grimy, so we're going to toss him. You know, again, you're not going to put a dirty cotton ball back into your bluing solution. So I'm going to put a clean ball on there, set it to the side, and we're going to heat. Once you start, you kind of have to keep going. You're going to get a really nice result though. I know some of you are probably skeptical because this is cold bluing, but I think you'll see that once we get it done, it's going to look really nice. The nice thing about this bluing is that if you're not ultra happy with the result, you can always go back and touch up with more. No problem. Alright, so we're just going to go over that we just heated up. You know, and if some areas, for whatever reason, if they weren't prepped quite as well, or if you ended up getting a little splotch of oil on the metal, or whatever the case may be, it's generally not an issue. You can go right back over it, and you're good to go. So again, we're going back over our second section that we heated, and it's looking just fine. And then we're going to end up going back and doing this last section here that we heated, and you go back over it over and over again. Now the reason I'm not wiping this solution off like the directions say is because the heat is causing the excess solution to sort of evaporate off of there, and to a degree that's kind of what you want with the heating. And once we get this thing to the black luster that we're looking for, the blue-black luster, then we're going to follow up with some steel wool, and we're going to get this thing looking the way we want it. So far it's looking real nice. There's a couple of areas right here along the front sight post that I might have not degreased quite as well as I probably should have, but that's no problem. All we got to do is just wipe that area down, hit it with a little steel wool, and touch it up. That's the beauty of this system. Okay, I got all this bluing, the barrel forward, oiled up. I left a small spot right here unblued purposely so I can show you how easy it is to do a touch-up in case you're not happy with the results. Okay, so let's say we get this bad boy blued up and we're not happy with it. Okay, here's a spot that needs to be fixed. Okay, no problem. Okay, so got my gloves on, sorry about that. We just take our rag that we've been using for alcohol only. Just take a little alcohol or whatever your degreasing agent of choice is. Just clean up that one spot right there that you're not happy with. I'm going to go ahead and clean off this whole area right here, just because we're about to be bluing right next to it anyway. That way if any bluing gets over there, it's just going to add to the depth of that particular spot anyway. Alright, so we degrease that one spot, let it dry a bit. Okay, Take our hair dryer. Get that spot warmed up nicely. So far this project's looking really nice. I think the customer's going to be very happy. Alright, so we got our metal warmed up. Again, we're just going to take our forceps, get a little bit of cold blue. I find it rather ironic that it's called cold blue and you heat the metal. Anyway, just going to touch that little spot up there. We'll go ahead and move on to our receiver. Might as well. We just warmed it up. It's degreased. Alright, we're just going to let that blue work on there real nicely. Now you can run it like in small streaks, you know, like long, deliberate streaks, or you can rub it. I've heard of people getting varied results with both types of application. I find that if a particular spot doesn't tend to do real well, you can give it a little bit of gentle pressure and rub it, and it'll blacken up real nicely. Don't get crazy though, because you don't want you know, the area is not blending well. So far out of this whole job, I've only got one little area I had to touch up, and then of course this one I purposely left that way. Alright, well I think that area there got touched up decent. Now, I mean, of course I'm going to have to go through and you know, put on multiple layers of bluing on this receiver. I'm going to get this bad boy finished up, and we're going to move on and show you the results. I know you guys are probably tired of watching me do this. Okay, here's our two, for the most part, finished products. I'll start with the styre since that was the first one we touched up. See if I can zoom in here on the spot that we touched up on the receiver. As you can remember, it was in the white. Now we've got a nice blued surface. If you look close, you can see that it looks a little more blue than black compared to the rest of the metal. But that's just the nature of the Oxpho blue. A trained eye, again, would be able to spot it, but in terms of, you know, if you were to just look at this gun with a rack of others, you would never be able to tell that was there. Let me get this guy out of the way. Alright, now the Fin M91 on top, all the bluing you see, that's all Oxpho blue. That's cold bluing, not hot. There may still be a few little minor spots that I might need to touch up here and there, but for all intensive purposes, in my opinion, all the work looks pretty good. The only real complaint that I have with this particular rifle is that I ended up having the Duracoated parts. I mean, not too bad, you know. If you're working with hot bluing, that's one thing. But considering what we're working with and the amount of time it took me, it's a really nice result. And the cool thing about it is that it leaves you with just a bare amount of things that you really have to make right. You know, if there's a spot or two that doesn't look up to your standards, no problem. You just degrease that section and redo it. Not an issue. But I'm happy with it, and as long as the customer's happy with it, I'm good to go. It definitely looks 10 times better than it did with what I started out with. You know, it didn't have any finish on it. It just looked really bad. I wanted to show you guys real quick. Here's another rifle that I did using the Oxpho blue. The stock, all I did was just work it over with a little bit of steel wool and put a few coats of tung oil on it. But the metal, you know, I just want to show you that's also Oxpho blue. And like I said, it's a lot of metal prep to get it just right. But for what it is, it definitely does the job, you know. In fact, oh, that's just a little pit there where it's showing a little bit of light reflecting. But, you know, for being just cold blue, it's really nice, especially considering the condition that this particular rifle was given to me in. It looks 10 times better. So take care, and we will move on with more of these videos.